What's up, everybody? It's Josh here, back with another NFL related video. And today I'm joined by Connor. Um, and we're going to be discussing Aaron Rodgers and just all this craziness that has gone on. So let's walk it all the way back to draft night. So it all comes out from Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, all the big reporters. They're talking about how Aaron Rodgers all of a sudden wants out of Green Bay, and all these teams have offered up these big trade packages for him, and then nothing happens. But following the draft, there's still continuous buzz that Rodgers doesn't want to play there, and these are his preferred teams, and we'll get into that in a minute. But just as of recently, there were some tidbits that came out today that he's in these group chats talking about, oh, or comparing the Packers GM to Jerry Krause, the Chicago Bulls GM that a lot of people learned about in the Last Dance documentary, and just how idiotic he was. But and then it was also reported that Aaron Rodgers was reportedly telling free agents that, hey, you might not want to sign here because I'm not going to be here next year, which I am kind of skeptical of. But before we get into any of my deeper thoughts on that, Connor, I just want to ask you, what's kind of your reaction to this whole like Aaron Rodgers ordeal, and what do you make of it?
I think that it shows that the Packers management is possibly the most incompetent in all of sports. Well, like you mentioned, draft night. Okay, so his name is slipping my mind right now, but the wide receiver out of Ole Miss, I believe his last name is Moore, was
Elijah.
drafted. Bingo. Yeah. So I think that what really shows how stupid the Packers are is Aaron Rodgers just had the greatest season of his career, and you could argue he was as dominant as any QB has ever been last year, right? And with their first round pick for their pissed off quarterback, what they do is draft a cornerback when Aaron Rodgers has been wanting weapons bad since Jordy Nelson left. Like, really, outside of Devontae Adams and Jordy Nelson, which you could argue that Rodgers made both Adams and Nelson, what weapons has this dude had? So, yeah, it would make sense to give him weapons when he's pissed off, or they could have just done something even smarter and just traded Jordan Love. And they didn't do that. So I don't understand what the Packers think they're doing at all. And I'm mildly concerned to see where Aaron might end up, because I think we'll definitely see Aaron Rodgers wear another team's colors before it's all said and done.
Well, the thing with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers is, a lot of this kind of started back when they drafted Jordan Love. And many thought the Packers, okay, they're finally going to get Rodgers another weapon. It was their biggest need going into the offseason. Not even just like whether it would be tight end, wide receiver, just something for Aaron Rodgers to work with. And then in the first round, they draft a quarterback in Jordan Love. And many were pissed, but then you look at 2020 and the season Green Bay had, and it's like, okay, and I saw a lot of the fan base and stuff was trying to turn this Jordan Love situation into a good thing because it pushed Aaron Rodgers to do better and learn to work with what he has. But I think that was just them trying to sympathize with the whole thing, when in reality it still just looks stupid, because even if Aaron Rodgers doesn't request a trade, and even if he doesn't end up anywhere, what the heck was the reason for drafting Jordan Love? He's not even going to play until his rookie contract is up, and then are you going to extend him? I'm not sure what you do with him, but it's really just, it's a lot of incompetence, honestly. Now you can look at the Packers roster and it's like, oh well, Robert Tonyan kind of broke out last year, and a combination of Lazard and Valdez Scantling and those they're not horrible, but they wanted more, clearly, and they never really gave it to him. And yeah, I mean, you can argue it was kind of malpractice by the franchise.
I don't know off the top of my head who was available at the position, But I know in the first round they obviously drafted Jordan Love. That didn't help the team. And then in the second round they drafted A.J. Dillon, which is a move a lot of people questioned. And I was okay with it at the time because I'm not a big fan of Aaron Jones, and A.J. Dillon's a good running back. And then they proceeded to extend Aaron Jones after the season. So, and they're saying they want to give Rodgers an extension. So your first and second round picks aren't going to play for the foreseeable future. Why did you draft them? It doesn't make any sense. And I mean, we can go into where Aaron wants to go, but I don't blame him for wanting to leave. This has been horrible by the Packers. Initially, what I thought was going to happen is it was just going to be a big bluff, and the Packers would say, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, Aaron," and like fire the GM and heck, maybe just fire everyone and just let what Aaron wants happen. Similar to the Russell Wilson trade rumors led to the Seahawks trading for Gabe Jackson to, you know, make his offensive line better. I thought a similar situation would happen here, but it's not happening at all. They're not budging. I don't know why.
Yeah, and the thing is, like I said, Aaron Rodgers did have a good 2020 season, and the Packers almost made it to the Super Bowl. So you can kind of make an argument that's like, okay, well, maybe the Packers made the right decision investing into other areas, but then still you mention, oh, well, the other areas they invested into still haven't, gave them all that much either. But, if you're Aaron Rodgers, you look at what the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes have, and I know it gets a little tiresome always comparing everyone to the Chiefs, and you hear it all the time. Everyone wants to be Mahomes and the Chiefs, but it's there's actually weight to that, because you look what happened with the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Mahomes got tossed around like a rag doll, and the Chiefs said, we are going to make sure this never happens again. Literally overhauled the entire offensive line. And other quarterbacks, the Russell Wilsons, the Aaron Rodgers of the world, they're looking at that and they're like, if the Chiefs can do it, why can't you guys do it?
I think it goes a little bit deeper than that with Rodgers, because it's not like the Seahawks like just make weird picks. Their later round picks usually tend to work out, but they'll do things like draft linebackers instead of offensive linemen. The Packers drafted a quarterback, which is just disrespectful to a guy like Rodgers. Like, yeah, sure, he's getting up there in age, but he's not declining. He just had the best season of his career. You see guys like Drew Brees. Drew Brees was on his last legs for a couple seasons there, and the Saints rolled with him because Drew's their guy. Look at the Steelers. Big Ben is a liability, but because he got him 2 Super Bowls in his first 4 years, I believe, they're going to roll with him until he wants out, which is a terribly stupid decision. They should be the ones drafting a quarterback, not the Packers. If you have the best quarterback in the NFL, I don't care how old he is, you go and try and win with him. Them looking for the future destroyed both their present and their future. It's Cleveland Browns level mismanagement.
Yeah, it really is. And, some of the buzz really a lot of the buzz, most of it's gone towards the Denver Broncos, which is apparently one of the destinations Aaron Rodgers would be okay with going to. And there's all these rumors that the Broncos are, coming up with this big package to offer Green Bay. And I've also heard, and I don't know if this is true, that Aaron Rodgers loves the idea of competing in a division with Patrick Mahomes to kind of prove to everyone that he's still the best in the league. And I'm not sure how much I buy that, but I do buy that the Broncos are interested in acquiring Aaron Rodgers, because look, there's maybe like 2 or 3 teams that don't want to acquire Aaron Rodgers. So I don't doubt the Broncos are interested. But man, I just don't, if I'm the Green Bay Packers, I don't know if I trade him because, yeah, you'd be getting a big haul. And if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play for you because he has threatened to retire, apparently, well, I just feel if I'm the Packers, I'm like, okay, go ahead, retire. Because they did draft Jordan Love. I know a lot of people weren't happy with the pick, but they still have him. So if they really think he's going to be something, well, then they wouldn't be too hurt by Rodgers retiring or a Rodgers departure because it's like, okay, well, you did draft this guy in the first round, and they're pretty high on him. But you know, if I'm the Packers, I'm just like, okay, we're not going to trade you because ultimately, not not letting him go to another team and be great there uh, is the right move because that's just it's just something you can't stand if you're the Packers. Now, maybe you could argue the Packers owe it to Rodgers because of the malpractice that they've displayed. But man, if I'm the Packers, just if I'm the GM in that chair right now, I'm just like, we're not going to trade you. If you want to retire and go be the host of Jeopardy, we don't care.
I mean, I feel like letting Rodgers retire as opposed to trading him is not only managing your assets very, very poorly, because at that point you don't have Aaron Rodgers. You either let Aaron Rodgers walk away for nothing or you let Aaron Rodgers leave for something. And it would just be a really bad thing for the sport to have Aaron Rodgers walk away when clearly he still has a lot left in the tank.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Broncos, but I think it's kind of interesting how the Broncos straight up said, yeah, we're not interested in Rodgers. So to me, the most likely destination for Rodgers right now is the Raiders, which is kind of funny because I believe it was like 2008. I might be wrong on that. But basically, the Raiders had a deal in place to send Randy Moss to the Packers to be a weapon for Brett Favre, and in exchange, they would get Aaron Rodgers. So it actually almost happened before. So it'd be kind of interesting if it happened again, but it would really suck because I don't want to have to deal with Aaron Rodgers playing my team twice a year. But yeah, I feel like the Packers are in a position where they have to trade a quarterback. It can either be Rodgers or it can be Jordan Love. And if they have half a brain, they're going to send Jordan Love to the Raiders, show that they're still committed to Rodgers, trade Jordan Love for like Darren Waller or something, and just do everything they can to appease Aaron Rodgers. Because this isn't just some quarterback that's pissed off. This isn't like Kirk Cousins is pissed off. This is Aaron Rodgers, the most talented guy we've ever seen play the sport, and you're just going to let him walk away? Nah, dude, you do everything you can to keep him and try to get him another ring because obviously that's what he wants.
Yeah, here's the other issue with the whole Jordan Love situation. I'm not sure how much trade value he has because he hasn't played. Like a team would be making a huge leap of faith by trading for him. And typically when players like that get traded, they don't get traded for the draft pick. So let's just say if they were to trade Jordan Love for a draft pick, usually players don't, the return that they get isn't the draft pick that they were drafted with, if that makes sense. So like the Packers, it's not like they'd be getting a first round pick back for Jordan Love, and it's not like they'd be getting a first round talent in exchange for Jordan Love if they were to trade him in like a player for player deal. So that's the other issue here is I don't know what Jordan Love's trade value is. I can't imagine it's very high, but uh I think the Broncos are interested despite what they said. I just don't think it's something they would come out and say publicly. I'm not sure what the advantage is to that off the top of my head, but sometimes GMs like to be secretive about that kind of thing. And I do think the Raiders would be involved too. Now, you mentioned that you wouldn't want, because this is, kind of Chiefs related because we've heard a lot of buzz around the AFC West teams. You mentioned you wouldn't want Rodgers to face us twice a year. And I agree. It's kind of weird to me how an example from last year is when Cam Newton got COVID and we faced the Patriots without Cam. And I remember a bunch of people saying, "Oh man, this sucks. I really wanted to see Newton versus Mahomes." And look, I'm not saying this as like I'm cheering for Cam to get COVID, but like Man, I'm glad Cam didn't play. I just want a game that we can win, and we won that game. That's what I'm happy about. I don't care about a good matchup. I don't care if the Broncos are scary and it makes the division more fun. I don't care about any of that stuff. I just want games I can win. Why wouldn't you want a cruise of a division schedule?
Yeah, give us what Brady had in New England for 20 years. Just god awful divisional opponents the entire run. But no, the Raiders have been rumored to want Rodgers, and the Broncos have been rumored to want Deshaun Watson. And nothing can come easy for us. Oh, don't forget about Justin Herbert. No, Justin Herbert is not on the same level as them. But yeah, going to what you said about Jordan Love. Jordan Love, I feel trade would have to be to a team who liked him during the draft process. The team that I heard liked him the most during the draft process, at least, pre-draft, I believe was the Colts. And obviously the Colts aren't going to trade for him. Maybe it could happen if next year if Carson sucks. But I know the Raiders were doing their homework on all the top quarterbacks or in this draft class. Obviously, none of them fell to the Raiders. So they're obviously somewhat interested in moving on from Derek Carr. So I could see the Raiders wanting Jordan Love, and Mike Mayock has done some mind-boggling things as general manager. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him offer 3 first-round draft picks for Jordan Love. And like you said, typically when you trade a player, you don't get the return you want. But I feel like Jordan Love could get you anything from 2 first-rounders to a 4th, just because teams value quarterbacks so highly. And I think there are a few teams who think that Jordan Love could be their franchise guy. And the move that comes to mind is the Atlanta Falcons took Brett Favre in the 2nd round. He didn't play a game, and then they traded him for a first-round draft pick to the Packers, and then he went on to become the Brett Favre we all know. So, yeah, it's really going to depend on whether or not or how high teams are basically a draft prospect, because that's what he is at this time. He wasn't even QB2 last year. He was QB3.
Yeah, which is interesting because the buzz around the Packers organization was, oh, they're really high on this guy. It's almost like they're trying to hide him, which honestly might be kind of smart, because then you don't. So if like he's bad in the limited time you let him play, teams don't have this bad sample to look at and say, oh, well, he's not that good, so we're taking a gamble. Here's a 4th round pick. So that's something to note. But yeah, this whole thing is just crazy, and how much it's developed over the past week. Like I said, I don't think the Packers trade him. And honestly, if I'm the GM of the Packers, I'm saying we're not going to trade you. They can do that if they want to. Now, it might be one of those things where like Rodgers retires and then he ends up coming back. But then you mention it. It's like, well, that would be just horrible for the NFL when one of the best quarterbacks to ever hit the field just randomly retires. It just wouldn't be right. So
it would be like Jordan walking away to play baseball.
Yeah, but instead of playing another sport, he'd be going to host Jeopardy.
That's sad. But one thing that is worth mentioning is that Aaron Rodgers has an out in his contract after this year. So what I think the most likely situation that happens is Rodgers ends up, I don't know if he retires and hosts Jeopardy, if he would still have that out in his contract if he wanted to come back, or if his contract would essentially be put on hold until he wants to come back. I'm not 100% sure on how that works, but I feel like we could either see Rodgers host Jeopardy or play one last season for the Packers, and then he's out next year and the Packers walk away with nothing, and he goes and signs with like the Lions or something and kicks the crap out of the Packers twice a year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I hope to God he doesn't get dealt to an AFC West team. And honestly, if you are, I want to hit on this real quick before we wrap it up. if you are like the Broncos and you want to trade for Aaron Rodgers, would the package that you have to give up for Aaron Rodgers even be worth it? Because look, I know you'd be trading for one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but like I've read some stuff that the Packers would have to, in order for them to say yes, would need like a ridiculous offer, and not like your typical like ridiculous offer, but like a ridiculous offer for one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So like multiple first round picks, like two like really good players. And if that were to happen, let's say hypothetically the Broncos offered Justin Simmons, Cortland Sutton, and like 3 first round picks. Well, if you're Aaron Rodgers and then you end up in Denver for that package, you're almost kind of in the same situation that you were just in, because Denver just gave up all these picks for you. So they can't really, well, the first round picks, at least I imagine it would probably even be more than that, but you gave up all these first round picks. So you can't really utilize those to help out the team. You just gave up, the Broncos just gave up their, in this hypothetical trade, one of their best receiver in Cortland Sutton, and probably their best defensive back in Justin Simmons. Do you agree with that? That honestly, that might be almost a similar situation that he was just in?
No. Because that Denver defense is still scary. And that offense is going to thrive with Aaron Rodgers. I don't care if you take Justin Simmons, Von Miller, Bradley Chubb. That defense can afford to lose one guy. If I'm the Broncos, I'm offering Denver a trade package of like Kyle Fuller and 3 firsts for Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think there's
Kyle Fuller, Teddy Bridgewater, and 3 firsts for Aaron Rodgers. I feel like that's worth it for Aaron Rodgers. And the team would still get better because, like you were talking about earlier, with Aaron Rodgers telling free agents that he's not going to be here. Well, he also told some of them what his preferred teams were. And what do you know? The Broncos and Raiders both suspiciously signed some players in free agency that no one really expected them to sign. So, yeah, people are going to want to go team up with Aaron Rodgers, and the team would just get better through that, similar to the Peyton Manning effect back when they had him.
Yeah.
He's just so good, and I feel like the Broncos and John Elway's not good at a lot, but once he has his superstar quarterback, he can build a team around him. And, yeah, so it'd just go back to the 2015 era Broncos.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And I know a lot of people still aren't sold on Vic Fangio as a coach, and he would be the coach there. So that's something you have to think about as well. But is there anything else you want to hit on? Yeah, go ahead.
If Aaron Rodgers was traded to the Broncos, the head coach would be Aaron Rodgers. Vic Fangio would run the defense, and the offense would do whatever Aaron Rodgers wanted. And just because he has that power and authority, similar to how it was the Peyton show when he was in Denver. So it would be the Aaron Rodgers show in Denver, and it would be however he wanted. So I don't know if Fangio would really be a concern. Like, look at what happened when Denver went to their Super Bowls with Peyton. Kubiak and John Fox weren't really great coaches because it was mostly just the Peyton show, and it was the same when Peyton was in Indianapolis. Just when you have a quarterback of that magnitude, it's going to be his show.
Yeah, and I also mentioned to you before, kind of when we were debating the Surtain pick for Denver, that the Broncos, when it comes to just analyzing the Broncos versus Chiefs in the division, because let's be realistic, if Denver is ever going to do anything, they have to go through the Chiefs. They're in the same division. But I talked about how if you look at the Chiefs versus Broncos matchups last year, the defense wasn't the issue. They actually gave the Chiefs offense some fits. They weren't very good in either game. But it was Denver's offense was just so bad that it didn't ultimately matter. But if they got Aaron Rodgers, all that changes.
Aaron Rodgers would turn the Jags last year into a top 10 offense. He's just that good of a player.
Yeah, you can make that case for pretty much most of the teams. I mean, all they need is an elite quarterback. That's the problem with a lot of teams. A lot of them are like the Giants right now. They're loaded at the skill position, but Daniel Jones, he's not good.
Aaron Rodgers to the Giants would be amazing.
Yeah, honestly.
They'd win the Super Bowl.
Dude, honestly, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm low-key pitching myself to the Giants.
I think Aaron's preferred destination is Minnesota.
You think so?
I think if Aaron Rodgers just outright hits the open market, I know he said San Francisco, which isn't happening, Oakland and Denver, which they said they don't want. But I think he knows that he won't get traded to Minnesota. And Minnesota drafted Kellen Mond this year, and they were planning on drafting Justin Fields until the Bears leapfrogged them. So they're obviously interested, potentially moving on from Kirk Cousins. Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen are elite wide receivers. The defense, it was injured to shit last year, but it should be better this year. And, guess what? They're in the same division as the Green Bay Packers.
Mm-hmm.
And I know somebody that Rodgers has talked to regarding this situation. Ironically, is Brett Favre. It's kind of funny considering Rodgers was the one who put Favre in this exact situation. But what did Favre do? Favre was traded to the Jets for a season, left, went to Minnesota, broke every Packers fan's heart. And out of the NFC North teams, the Lions are rebuilding. I could see Rodgers potentially going to the Lions, but, the Lions aren't particularly good. Maybe they'll have a big offseason next year, bring in some weapons for Rodgers. The Bears just drafted Justin Fields. They're not getting Rodgers, although it would be hilarious to see Rodgers in a Bears uniform.
Yeah.
And the Vikings just seem to be the most logical option.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how it unfolds. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. I think we hit most things. Would you agree?
Yeah, just don't come to the AFC West, Aaron. We have enough problems as it is.
Yeah, I would not want that to happen. We've already explained why. So, yeah, that's all I got for today. Real. Yeah, go ahead.
Is there any other player that has carried a team on their back like Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers has taken genuinely bad teams deep in the playoffs. I can't think of another football player that has done that. I don't think any other football player has carried their team other than maybe Derrick Henry. None come to mind other than
he nearly beat the Cardinals with Jeff Janis as his leading receiver.
The dude's not human.
Yeah, I mean, those were some amazing throws in that year in the playoffs too. It was crazy. But then, of course, the Packers defense let Larry Fitzgerald drive all the way down the field in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I see why he wants to leave now.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all we got for today. Make sure you like, share, subscribe so we can get this out there. And make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and kckingdom.com. That's all I got for today. Peace.